Unit 2, Space Exploration. Chapter 3, Listening Passage.
Good morning. I'm Todd Simons, and this morning we have as our guest a local university student whose hobby is studying space debris. His name is Andy Hackett. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Andy, I understand that you're an expert on space debris. Exactly what is space debris?
Well, Todd, space debris is the junk that's floating around in space.
What kind of junk? Meteorites, spacecraft, garbage?
Not meteorites. It's man-made stuff. The debris can be pieces that fall off spacecraft. Or it can be things astronauts lose when they work outside a spacecraft. Remember, there's no gravity. So when an astronaut drops a tool outside, it just floats away. The debris can be big chunks of space stations, or old satellites, or pieces of rockets. So, yes, you could call it garbage.
Space debris sounds like an unusual hobby. How did you get interested in it?
In my second year of college, I took a course on space. One of the chapters we studied was about space debris. For one of our assignments, we had to calculate the dangers of a spacecraft colliding with space debris. I had a hard time doing the calculations, but I became interested in space debris. What's up there? Who put it there? What comes back to Earth? And where it lands?
Those are interesting questions. What are some of the answers you've found? Is space debris dangerous?
Well, the danger is growing. You wouldn't believe the variety of objects that are up there. There are countless very small things like nuts, bolts, and paint chips that orbit the Earth. Then there are chunks of space stations as large as a school bus out in space. There are even gloves that astronauts have lost circling the Earth.
So, who's responsible for this space garbage?
Not surprisingly, most of it came from the U.S. and the former Soviet Union. Some estimates say each had left about 4,000 pieces of debris. It's estimated that the European Space Agency had left around 300. Of course, it's hard to get an accurate count. A lot of pieces are really too small to count.
Does this space junk just stay out in space, or does it fall to Earth?
It does both. When a rocket explodes, big pieces of debris fall to Earth. Small pieces usually burn up before they reach Earth. Some space junk, like old satellites, might stay far out in space. But a lot of the big things left in orbit eventually fall to Earth. Earth's gravity eventually pulls them down.
When pieces of junk do fall to Earth, where do they land?
There's more water than land on the Earth's surface, so there's a greater chance that space debris will fall into an ocean. But there have been some spectacular cases of large chunks falling on land. In 1997, a 580-pound fuel tank, that's 264 kilograms, hit the ground in Texas. 3 years later, an identical tank slammed into the ground in South Africa. These pieces were so big they caused a sonic boom. And, of course, they were burning from the heat of re-entry. I think the largest piece so far was part of a rocket. That piece weighed more than 700 pounds, 318 kilograms. I'm not sure where it landed, but it must have been amazing to see.
Do we need to worry about space debris falling on us?
Not really. So far, no one has documented any injuries. The greatest danger is space debris hitting a spacecraft in orbit. Even an object as small as a grape is traveling so fast that it can damage a medium-sized spacecraft.
Can space programs do anything to avoid damage to spacecraft?
Yes. A lot of effort and money goes into using materials to protect the outside of spacecraft. And organizations like the Center for Orbital and Re-entry Debris Studies study and track space junk.
Andy, I'm afraid we're out of time. This has been really interesting. Thanks so much for coming.
My pleasure.